Thank you, Chief Justice, and may it please the court. My name is Elena DellaRossa, and I represent the petitioner Willow Schimmel. I would like to reserve 2 minutes for rebuttal. This case is about whether transportation security officers fall within the Federal Tort Claims Act law enforcement proviso. Under the plain language of 28 USC section 2680 subsection H, they do. This court should reverse the decision of the Court of Appeals for the 13th Circuit for two reasons. First, Officer Lori is an officer of the United States under the plain language of the statute. Second, Officer Lori is empowered by law to execute searches, bringing him within the law enforcement proviso. First, Officer Lori is an officer of the United States within the meaning of Section 2680, subsection H. Under this statute, Congress defined an investigative or law enforcement officer as any officer of the United States who is empowered by law to execute searches, to seize evidence, or to make arrests for violations of federal law. As this court held in Perrin v. United States, when Congress does not define the term, courts look into its ordinary meaning at the time the statute was enacted. At the time Congress enacted the law enforcement proviso, Black's Law Dictionary defined an officer as someone holding a position of trust or authority who exercises governmental functions for the public benefit. Officer Lori fits squarely within that definition. As a transportation security officer, he exercises authority delegated by the federal government to screen passengers and their property before they board commercial aircraft. The record shows that Officer Lori identified himself as a transportation security officer, wore his TSA uniform and badge, and controlled passenger movement through the security checkpoint. Congress chose the phrase any officer of the United States. As the Eighth Circuit explained in Iverson v. United States, the word any has an expansive meaning and should be given its ordinary effect. This court reinforced that principle in Millbrook v. United States, holding that courts may not impose limitations on law enforcement proviso that Congress did not write into the statute. As explained in Martin v. United States, Congress enacted the proviso to provide a remedy when federal officers abuse the authority entrusted to them. Second, Officer Lori is empowered by law to execute searches. Under 28 USC section 2680 subsection H, an officer only needs to be empowered to execute searches, seize evidence, or make arrests. Congress used the disjunctive or, meaning only one of those powers is required. As the Fourth Circuit recognized in Osmond v. United States, an officer qualifies if he possesses any one of the three listed powers. Officer Lori unquestionably has the authority to execute searches. Under 49 USC section 44901 subsection A, Congress authorized TSA officers to screen all passengers and property before boarding commercial aircraft. And 49 USC section 44901 subsection G4 expressly provides that screening includes physical examinations and physical searches of passengers and their property. Those screenings are also searches, as seen in Terry v. Ohio, where this court held that a pat down for weapons constitutes a search. Likewise, TSA officers conduct pat downs and inspect passengers for baggage, for weapons, explosives, and other prohibited items. The fact that these are administrative searches does not remove them from the statute. As the Third Circuit explained in Pellegrino and the Fourth reaffirmed in Osmond, Congress did not distinguish between administrative and criminal searches in Section 2680, subsection H. For the foregoing reasons, Officer Lori is an officer of the United States and is empowered by law to conduct searches. We therefore respectfully ask this court to reverse the judgment of the 13th Circuit. Thank you, Your Honor.